The views and opinions expressed by the guest author or speaker during this live session are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Reader's Magnet. The content shared is for informational purposes only and does not constitute endorsement or promotion of any particular belief, ideology, or product.
Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to RM Hive, and you're tuning in to Reader's Magnet's featured author interview. I'm your host, Revan, and our special guest today is a certified educator with years of experience teaching middle grade, secondary English, and gifted students. She also received alcohol drug education from Prevention Research Group and taught DUI, defensive driving, and driver's education classes. Other than that, she is a well established entrepreneur, and her highest achievement of all is that she's a mother, a grandmother, and a great grandmother who still looks gorgeous and young today. She's with me right now, and she's the author of Beyond Broken Finding Wholeness in Jesus. Ladies and gentlemen, Diane Devault. Hi, Diane. How are you? Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you. I'm good.
Okay, so before we start with our interview, I would like for our audience to know, what is Beyond Broken about?
It's about broken. It's about getting broken. And I think living life sometimes breaks us, doesn't it? And so when we get broken, we got to get fixed. And then after we get fixed, hopefully we are beyond broken. We're fixed. And we're better.
Love the title.
We're better because we got fixed.
Yes. I actually love the title because I skimmed the book a while ago. Last week I get to have a chance to have the book with me, and then I read it a while ago as well. And then I love that the broken has different meanings in it. So like a physical broken, the spiritual broken, and then you're actually trying to fix everything in it. So, what message do you hope readers will take away from your book?
Okay, before I answer that question, let me let you know that I don't think that I have arrived. You know, I don't know that we ever arrive on getting fixed. We just live our life and we continually get fixed, you know, and that's the way it is. There's a Christian song, and the name of the song is God Will Make a Way Where There Seems to Be No Way. And I believe if I had to put my book in one sentence, that would be it. That's the theme of my book. I found myself in so many situations where I didn't see a way. I couldn't see my way forward. And I didn't think there was any way to get out of the messes that I could somehow get myself into. And I don't mean, by the way, to make my life sound like a disaster, because it wasn't. My life was wonderful. I married the man of my dreams, literally. And through that marriage, I have 2 daughters. I have 3 grandchildren. I have 1 great grandson. I have 2 great grandchildren that will be here within the next 2 months. And that is just awesome. That's an awesome life. But my children's father was a military man, and he was killed in a helicopter crash in Mannheim, Germany on September the 11th of all dates, September the 11th, 1982. And he was only 36 years old. And to me, that was tragic. That was devastating. It absolutely it stopped me. It stopped me in my tracks, and I could not see myself going forward. Death, I think, is so final, and it's devastating. It's one of those things where God has to make a way. I did, by the way, get married 3 more times, and that's amazing. That's a miracle that God would allow us to love and have love 3 more times after the literally our soulmate. After our soulmate dies, you wonder, is there another soulmate? Well, I think I had three more husbands that I adored and loved. But those 3 marriages ended in 3 divorces. And I found out through that process there is something worse than death, and it is divorce. Because divorce it has all kinds of emotions that go with it that make it worse. And it was during that time, I'm so glad that God taught me about forgiveness, because I honestly believe that if we don't forgive, we're going to get stuck These death situations, these divorce situations, the hurtful situations in our life,
Mm-hmm.
we can get stuck in those holes, those pits
Mm-hmm.
that we feel
True.
like other people dug for us, but maybe we helped dig those pits as well. Anyway, we can get stuck without forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
So with forgiveness, I think we can find our way out of that. And that's God. That's God helping us to, He's making a way. He's making a way for us to go forward. I had two life-threatening events that should have killed me. I
Mm-hmm.
think they were intended to kill me. I was in
Mm-hmm.
a car accident with a dump truck,
Uh-huh.
which was a
With
lot
a
bigger
dump
than
truck.
I was, it
Uh-huh.
was a really bad wreck, and my entire pelvis was crushed, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, my hip was broken, another was crushed, and they were really thinking there was more. There were more.
Uh-huh.
To the point where the doctors had called my family in because I was
Mm-hmm.
dying. But I did live through that. I had people praying, and after
True.
that they said, well, okay, she lived in, but she'll never walk. And so they were trying to
Uh-huh.
prepare me and my family for the fact that I might never walk. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
walking, and I walked right after that. And
Yeah.
these were miracles. And I'm not going to talk so much today about the miracles and the
Mm-hmm.
spiritual things in my book because some of them are literally unbelievable, but
Yeah.
I guarantee you they really happened. I
They
had
happen.
little things happen. There are more things, good things,
Yeah.
and more bad things. But my point is, and my answer is, the theme of my book is God will make a way where there
Yeah.
seems to be no way.
No way. I love that message right there. You know what? Despite all of these scary things that happen, despite all of the death situations, the effects of divorce, you still actually have this positive message with your book. And true, I believe that God will make a way and he works in ways we cannot see. And I love that song by the way. And I believe
Yes,
in that as well.
yes,
So
yes.
and by reading your book, I've actually noticed this recurring sessions. You call it getting it together. I actually love it because it's like a moment of reflection. So when I read the book, it's like a pause moment for me when you were actually having like a counselor moment of yourself. It also gives me a time to think about what I did before. So for example, if I'm broken, and then I also think about myself with that. So what came into your mind when writing the getting it together sessions?
Well, I lived it. I
Mhm.
I thought I had to be nuts to get myself into so many bad situations in my life.
Mhm.
And after, I mean, think about it, 4 marriages, that
True.
deserves some counseling right there. And so I lived it. And so when I'm writing the getting together sessions, I'm trying, or I tried very hard to remember what really happened, what was really said, how I felt during those sessions, what I was feeling then. Not, I
Mhm.
wasn't writing it as if I were
Mhm.
writing it in today. I was writing it
Yeah.
with answers that I gave then, uh,
Yeah.
without understanding what was going on and me trying
Mhm.
to figure it out. Because I did figure some things out just by talking, just by getting it together
True.
with the psychiatrist. Hmm.
Yeah. That was actually my favorite part of the book because there are a lot of getting it together. So it's like, yeah, it's you really have to get it together. So it's like talking to I talk to myself too, so I can relate so much with the sessions that you had. That's why it's my favorite part of the book.
I'm
And by the
actually
way,
I'm actually
yeah,
still getting it together. I don't go to a psychiatrist anymore, but I do
uh-huh,
have this one
true,
theory that if I lose my peace, stop.
mm-hmm,
I stop.
true,
Okay, when was it that I left my peace? What
yeah,
was I doing? What was, and then I have to repent for that usually before my peace is going to come back.
mm-hmm,
It's usually disobedience. Something
true,
happened where I was disobedient. And
mm-hmm,
so we all
true,
still have to get it together, whether we have help or not with
mm-hmm,
human people. So,
yeah. Let me just wait for a while. I'm crying. Thank you so much for that one. Because yeah, I can relate so much from that, and I have tears in my eyes listening
um,
to you. So, and by the way,
yeah,
what?
you have me. I can't afford to do that.
Yeah, yeah. And what kind of reader would identify with your book?
My book is a true testimony of my life. Now, I'm not going to talk about so many spiritual things that happened in my book, because the biggest thing that my friends have said to me is, Diane, nobody's going to believe that happened to you. Nobody's going to believe that you saw an angel. Nobody's going to believe, that. And
True.
so I'm not going to talk so much about those. I'll let that just happen in the book. But it is my testimony, and it is to the best of my memory. And after I would write a chapter, I would call people I knew in my family who knew what happened. And I would say, is this the way you remember this? And so I wanted it to be a true testimony. I asked God over and over, help me write this. Help me to write what you want.
Yeah.
What do you want said? And so my book is a love story, obviously.
Yeah.
And it is it's a wonderful, beautiful love story. It's as beautiful as any
Yes.
love story. But at the same time, it's about death, and it's about losing love. And then it's a love story again, and it's about death, divorce and losing love. As I said, I was an Army wife, and I remember, I think one of the biggest things for some reason that I remember about being an Army wife was Vietnam. The fact that I sent my husband away to Vietnam, and that man did not come back. He came back. He lived through 2 tours of Vietnam, but he was different. And Vietnam changed people. So when they tell us, when the authorities tell us that 58,000 people were killed in Vietnam, how many marriages were destroyed? How many people's lives were never the same again after any war? And so certainly that had something to do with a great part of my life. My second husband was a systems analyst, and he was so brilliant, so wonderful. He was wonderful in so many ways, but unfortunately, he was an alcoholic. And I didn't know anything about alcoholism. At a later time, I did get certified to do some work with alcohol and drug addiction, but I didn't have that training then. And so I did not understand. And I think a very valuable marriage was lost because of that, and still don't understand all that much that happens there. My third husband is the only husband that I married that was rich. And immediately after I married him, he all at once became poor. I don't know if it was what happened, but he lost everything. And he also was the only one that I would call a man of God. They all were, but the point is that this man was literally like a preacher. He was like a saint in my life. He was my mentor. He certainly was my children's mentor. We knew very little about the Bible, and so he helped us. He helped us a great deal. But it was that same husband who did go through a time in his life. I call it his David Bathsheba time, but he went through a time when he wasn't a man of God. He didn't behave like me. And we were married 14 years, and 2 of those 14 were just hellish, to say the least. And things happened that really I questioned, is there maybe everything can't be forgiven? Honestly, I thought that, but I worked through it. And yes, everything must be forgiven, because if we don't forgive it, we get stuck. We're going to get stuck in those deep pits, and we'll never get out. Worked with a little boy with AIDS, and this was way back when everybody was terrified of AIDS. But I was going to be a blessing to this little boy. But I am telling you that before he died, he was such a blessing to me. And I tell a little chapter about him because it was when I was learning. I was learning how to hear from God. And I was learning that God will speak to us and tell us and show us what to do in certain situations. And God allowed me to have a Christian bookstore called Little Fisher Christian Book Nook. And there were so many. We had what we call the back room, and it was a lot of fun. And I also was able to have something called a Hava Plantation Bed and Breakfast, and had some really good experiences there. And we had an association with World Salt Foundation, where we housed missionaries who would come in out of the field, and they would stay at our house while they earned money in order to go back into the field. And I am telling you, the blessings that I receive from those missionaries are just, you can't put a price on them. They're just awesome. And I love that. Good things can happen and bad things happen. I lost a little grandbaby and had to work through that. I prayed for that grandbaby faithfully. I believed. I said all the time, he will live and not die, and he will glorify the name of the Lord. But he didn't. He died. And things happen that we just will never understand. And we have to remember that God is God. We aren't.
True.
And that we have to accept some things that we may never understand. The car wreck, and I was also diagnosed with cancer. We don't, and I don't understand those things. I'm still here. I wasn't supposed to be here, but I'm still here. It was a very aggressive, by the way, kind of cancer. So therefore, I think I surprised a lot of people by still being here. The purpose of my book, the kind of reader that I think would identify with my book is somebody who just has gone through life. You just live life, because I find that as I talk to people on a daily basis, they'll start talking about a subject, and I go, oh, wow, I was there. I've been there, done that. But it's not the same situation. It's not the same at all. I can't tell that person. I know exactly what that person's feeling, but I have a little handle on it because I was there. And when I hear somebody say, I can't get over this, I'll never forgive this, I can't go forward from this, I want my book to be there to say, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Because God will make a way where there seems to be no way.
Yes. I love how empowering your book is, despite all of these challenges that you had encountered in your life. So it's very heavy. It's so heavy for a reader as well. So and despite that, you get to have a positive message that yes, you can, because God will make a way where there seems to be no way. And as a church boy, I've always believed in that as well. So this also resonates with me. And speaking of the challenges, what has been the greatest challenge you've faced during your spiritual journey?
You know, I may shock you with this. It's school. I am a teacher. I had devoted my life to teaching, but in the last 50 years, I have seen teaching. It just was horrible. It got to be worse and worse and worse with each year that I spent in the field of education, especially in the public school part of it. And I grieve over it. I grieved then, and I still grieve over it, because I really, it's hard for me to believe that it can be fixed. I am so thrilled. I'm thrilled that we have a president right now who's willing to try to do something with our educational system. At one point in my career, I ran for the school board of my particular county, and I won. And so therefore I was just positive that I could fix education. I was going to fix education, at least in my particular county. And at that particular time, I was coming against Goals 2000. Well, Goals 2000 did go away, let me put it this way. It didn't go away. They changed the name of it. That's what education does. They changed the name of it. And so Goals 2000 became No Child Left Behind. And then later on, No Child Left Behind, became core curriculum. And then after that, core curriculum became your DEI, CRT. It's all still in there. Nothing ever went away. And the reason was federal money has been paying for all of that. You can't get rid of things when a county's getting $1 million to do it. I don't care how many parents show up at the school board meeting. I don't care what. You're not going to get rid of it when that much money is behind it. And so school has been, it's not the biggest problem I've ever had. Obviously, it's not most personal, but it is certainly the most long suffering, enduring kind of problem. It's just been going on for years and years, and I don't see a lot going on there that's going to get better. But I'm hoping I hope
Mhm.
for it. I was saved at when I was 11 years old. I was at
Mhm.
Ridgecrest, North Carolina, at a huge, big Baptist youth camp. Believe it or
Mhm.
not, it was Billy Graham who came to preach that last Friday night
Mhm.
that I was there. And oh my goodness, after that sermon, I'm always been afraid of going off into the dark, but instead of running down to the altar where everybody else was going that
Mhm.
particular night, I ran sideways and I went to the Vesper Gardens at Ridgecrest. And I
Mhm.
remember being on the prayer bench there in the gardens and saying, Lord, please don't let me go to hell. Don't let me go to hell. That was all I understood. It was all I understood at 11 years old. I just didn't want to go to hell. And so that was about all I understood about my salvation until I hate to say this, I was about 19, I was 33 years old, about
Mhm.
1982. And here I found myself in a closet
Mhm.
begging God, telling him that if he would just get rid of my dead husband's ghost, because this
Mhm.
ghost was really thinking he was what I thought was one of two things is going on. Either I truly
Mhm.
have a ghost that is, I don't know, trying to contact me, or
Mhm.
either I've lost my mind because of this death. And either way, I knew I had to get home. I had to move home. I had to be near
Mhm.
my parents because I thought I'm going to end up in some kind of institution. I mean, my
Mhm.
parents are going to have to raise my children because I think I might have lost my mind, or I've got a ghost, and my goodness, that's not better. It's horrible too, and I didn't know what to do with all of this, and that sort of evolved into receiving the baptism in the Holy Spirit.
Mhm.
And oh my goodness, my life was turned upside down and inside out.
Mhm.
And my goodness, I was a good, faithful Baptist, and
Mhm.
this happens to me. It was wonderful. It did cause me to get kicked out of my church, but
Mhm.
that's all right. I mean, I've left a lot of churches, and I don't think there were a lot of unhappy people in any church I've ever left. I've never been able to fit much in a church. That's what I mean by
Mhm.
churches is a problem for me. It's a challenge for me. I'm too Baptist, I think, to be a good Pentecostal. And I'm too
Mhm.
Pentecostal to be a good Baptist. And I'm not sure where I fit. I do know that I
Mhm.
love Jesus and I am saved and
Yeah.
I am Christian and I'm looking forward to going to heaven. And I guess church, I get frustrated with it. You wanted to know about
Mhm.
another work. I'm working right now on a book about grandma. Grandma is
Mhm.
sharing her stuff with her grandkids. And the
Mhm.
theme of that book is I want to tell y'all that no matter how much you go to church, there are some things you just
Mhm.
aren't going to learn in church. These things are
True.
in the Bible, but they're not going to be taught in church because then it would just mess
Yes.
the church. People wouldn't want to hear it. They would leave and so forth. And that's what's happened, by the way, to church. It's become more
Yeah.
entertainment and so forth. And so I'm trying to tell them, and I'm trying to tell them in a way that they will listen to me and that it means
Mhm.
something to them. And so sorry about my nose. It
It's
started
okay.
running about 25 years ago and hadn't quit yet. So I don't know exactly what happens there. But anyway, I'm telling my kids about church and I'm telling them about past members of their family who were good
Mhm.
Christian people. And so that's my next book. I hope that's well on its way. I think I can be finished with that pretty
Mhm.
soon. I mean, my third challenge, I think, is my world. Um,
Mhm.
I was asked one time by a student, "What do you see as the future of America?" And I
Mhm.
said, "Well, in 1963, we kicked prayer out of school. In
Mhm.
1973, Roe v. Wade happened, and we
Mhm.
believed America decided that it was okay to abort children. In 2015, America decided that it was okay for men to marry men and women to marry
Mhm.
no, marriage, that's different. I mean, when
Mhm.
you add the word marriage to that, uh,
Mhm.
that's what changes it because marriage is
Mhm.
a covenant that only God can create
Mhm.
there. And so we allowed that. And I said, now, what do you think is the future of America? What do you think is
Mhm.
going to happen? And then I started thinking about it, and I thought, where was I in 1963? 63. I was in high school. And I remember President Kennedy dying
Mhm.
in 63. I barely knew anything about it at all.
Mhm.
And yeah, I don't think I understood or maybe I didn't care at that
Mhm.
time much about it. In 1973, I knew Vietnam was ending. I knew that Nixon was in trouble. I knew that they were telling me that our soldiers were not in Israel fighting in the 1973 war, but mine had disappeared, and I knew where he was. I figured he was there.
Mhm.
That's what I was concentrating on, and somehow Roe versus Wade happened there, and I missed it. I missed it altogether. In 2015, I was a solid Christian, going to church
Mm-mm.
regularly, morning, every time the doors opened. I was attending church, and yet I don't remember muttering a word when the Supreme Court passed that. Where was I?
Mhm.
And that makes me ask the question, where am I now? Where are we? We the
True.
people, where are we now? Are we
True.
speaking up? Or is anything ever going to change if we the people, if we who call ourselves Christians don't speak up?
Mhm.
We the church. Now I know that God is going to use the church. It's going to prevail. But I
Mhm.
can't see him using the church the way it is right
Mhm.
now. So between the school system and church and my world, I'm struggling with a lot
Mhm.
of things but at the same time, I'm not struggling because I know God's in control. God
Mhm.
is in
True.
control. He has all
That is
things
in
in His
control.
hand. Yes. So those are my challenges for sure.
Yes, that's right. I've learned so much from this discussion, Diane. So right now, I'm going to give the spotlight to you. Would you tell us about where we can find your book? You can promote your book and tell us where we can find it.
Do you know I am the world's worst on the computer? I was terrorized today just
That's
knowing that I
okay.
had to get on the computer. My
Mm-hmm.
daughter will be marketing this book. I guarantee you
Mm-hmm.
there already is a Beyond Broken Facebook page, but I
Mm-hmm.
think she's in the process of changing it. She decided she
Mm-hmm.
didn't like that
Mm-hmm.
that particular Facebook page. She wanted to make another one. So it has.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that the one that's up now is called Beyond Broken,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Diane Devault. I'm on
Mm-hmm.
Truth Social. My granddaughter put me on Twitter, but I don't know where it is
Okay.
or what. I mean, I know I'm there, and it's all going to be under something Beyond Broken. It,
Mm-hmm.
that's how you'll find any social media thing is under Beyond Broken.
Okay.
Okay.
So all right,
I didn't help
Diane
you.
DeVault,
I didn't help
everyone. Yes. So you're available on Facebook. It's Beyond Broken. Also on Twitter as Beyond Broken. So for all of you guys who want to know more about Diane Duval, just follow her on our social media. And also you can get a copy of Beyond Broken, Finding Wholeness in Jesus on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and the Reader's Magnet bookstore. So once again, thank you so much for spending time with us here at Reader's Magnet, Diane.
Thank you. You made this okay. I
Yes.
was so nervous about it, but you made it okay.
Yeah,
You made it
it
easy.
is a friendly conversation between friends. So, guys, let's open the pages and unravel the secrets of your personal odyssey. And I believe that your ink never runs dry. So, go tell your story, you storyteller. This is your host, Revan. And as we say it here at Reader's Magnet, we share your story with the world. Bye now. Stay awesome.
Bye.